It was all changed for the 2005 Osram Rally, round 6 of the Sasol SA Rally Championship. After documentation and scrutineering in Bloemfontein on Friday, the rally circus hoisted anchor and set sail for De Wetdorp, 75 kilometers southeast of the bustling Free State capital. Founded in 1880 by Jacobus Ignatius de Wet, father of General Christian de Wet, the town was occupied by the British during the Anglo-Boer War and freed by General de Wet in 1900. A war of a different kind was about to break out though in the sleepy town, as 45 rally teams were to do battle over 8 stages in a single day. No rally has ever been held in the area, so the playing field was level, literally when you look at the topography of the surrounding farmland. The season started in KwaZulu-Natal back in March. Action Car Brigade. The Mitsubishi teams are closing in though. JP Damso leads Class A7 and Rodney Fasagi is ahead in the N3 battle after a run of good results. The class war is equally fascinating. Craig Trott could wrap up the Class A6 championship on the Osram Rally if all goes well. So, how do the drivers feel about a new challenge?
It's good to have something new, and we just hope it all, it works. I'm sure there's be a few little hiccups, but we can sort that afterwards.
And the challenger's viewpoints.
Yeah, I think we starting the event on roads that none of us have been on before, and very flat area this, so difficult to read, you don't have the contours to follow. So it'll be interesting to see how brave we are on the farm roads, and should be a couple of cattle grids to cross at high speed, so looking forward to that. But be it as it may, we need to put a stop to Serge's winning streak.
Etienne Lawrence, on the other hand, had a dreadful season so far.
Horrid, terrible, whatever you want to call it, yeah, the worst ever. But we're looking forward. We've gone through everything again, and yeah, hopefully the omen has left us now and we'll get through.
And there have been so many retirements. Can you take us back to the 5th one? What caused that?
What did we break? I can't even remember. Hey?
Major engine.
Oh yeah, the major engine overhaul. No, it dropped a valve, and that destroyed the engine. So that was it.
Fecken dropped out of the A7 lead on the VW rally.
We were leading the class by about 3 minutes, so we had a good lead and everything was going well. And we broke one side shaft, and eventually that damaged. We're driving on one-wheel drive, and it damaged the diff. And what can you say? That's rallying.
Adrian Karth, after your first finish, is your bad luck a thing of the past?
On some stages we actually got the tea set in the back, so when it's like 6Ks flat, we got to start making tea and have some fun. But yeah, look, it's going to be a quick one. It's normal mountain trial type stuff, not the mountains, but it's going to be fast. So for the 6-gear stuff, we're looking forward to it.
My main event or main objective is just to stay ahead of the N4s, because we know we're overall in the championship 5th. So, but if we can attack or be close to them, it'll be interesting. Sheesh. I think there's 14 N4s normally, so maybe another 5 or 6 guys really close. So it's not easy, you still have to go.
Richard Bem started the rally with a damaged car. We wanted to know what had happened.
We were testing on Saturday in Cape Town. We damaged the windscreen, and we ordered 2 windscreens from overseas we got from England, and they arrived on Wednesday and come to the rally, but both of them were broken when they arrived. It should be fine. It might crack a bit more, but there's nothing wrong with it.
Jaapie van Niekerk, one of the newer and impressive drivers in the sport.
We're looking forward to this one. It's going to be fast, new to everyone.
And there's another new navigator in Visser du Plessis' Subaru.
Yeah, it's my 3rd one this year. I'm thankful to Francois, but Mark unfortunately is quite ill. Couldn't make it, and Francois was kind enough to say he'll get on board, and I'm pretty excited to get a really world-class guy next to me. I'm sure he's going to teach me a couple of things. We've had 1 or 2 good runs, but 2 non-finishes and a bad one in P, so we got pressure on ourselves this time.
Out before the start of the rally is the production car leader Nicholas Ryan and his Subaru with a hole in a piston.
It's been a little bit of a miserable morning. Yesterday the car was fantastic, the car was going well. Drove here this morning, car was pulling well. Got into the service park. As we came through the service park, I heard a noise. Asked Carl, can you hear the same noise? He says yes. Then opened the bonnet, checked that the noise was still there. We weren't even sure what it would have been. And I took it out back on the road and just lost power and started smoking. So we're not sure. We've got absolutely no idea.
The car's first mechanical failure in 18 events was partly ascribed to a new type of spark plug as well. The Osram Rally was laid out in a cloverleaf format around De Wetstort, running 2 stages at a time before returning to the central service area in town. Fast undulating stages wait for the action in stage 1. Just a single point in the championship standing separates the BP Volkswagen Polo teams, and both are still capable of taking the overall championship, so it's going to be a war of note. Can General Damso rescue the town from a VW victory 105 years after General De Wet? Well, not in stage 1 he couldn't. Jannie Habig and Douglas Judd gave it their all trying to benchmark their pace, and just watch the speed here. Habig touches 160 down the long straight before tapping off to 80 for the following corner. Enzo Keen and Guy Hodgson took to the hard-baked surface like a duck to water and set a time 7 seconds faster than the current champions could muster. And that gave them the lead by 1 second from their sister car. Etienne Lawrence and Andre Vermeulen were holding thumbs that the total Run-X would last the distance. The Centurion driver has lost none of his flair and sets the 6th fastest time. Johnny Gemmel and Marty Olivier is another team taking their time to feel out the conditions. Can he beat the pace-setting time set by Van Niekerk? Watch the clock carefully. No, 21 seconds slower, and that's really a cautious start on such a short rally stage. Van Niekerk and Godridge flying along in the ESPi Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 8, slotting into an early 3rd overall and first in Class N4. Spaniard Fernando Rueda and co-driver Martin Buerta are on the pace from the start, but they drop 11 seconds in the first stage. Fellow Capetonians Richard Bem and Grant Sinclair bring their Sasol Lancer Evo 6 to the finish 7 seconds adrift of Rueda. Charles Wilkin and Robin Houghton, despite gear selection problems in the first stage, beat the total Run-X of JP Damso and Kobus Frey and the BP VW Golf of Hogan Fecken and Pierre Arries to stake their claim to Class A7 honours. Fecken has 3 class wins under his belt this year to JP's 1, and they are separated by just 3 points on the championship log. Stephen Wilkin and Alan Bissett is the only team able to challenge the supremacy of Craig Trott in Class A6. Trott and co-driver John Costa are virtually assured of retaining their class championship, whatever the outcome of the Osram Rally. On stage 1, the youngster beat the elder statesman by just 8 seconds. As the battle lines are drawn, just one Class A7 runner makes it into the top 8. While the class positions reflect the promise of high drama still to come, Claudio Piazzamuso and Janine Labuschagne are emerging as the surprise early leaders in Class N3. He continues, and 8 marked jumps, 15 gates to negotiate, and a straight 3.4 kilometers are some of the obstacles waiting for the remaining 39 competitors over 20.5 kilometers of special stage 2. One of the closest contests in SA rallying is found in Class N3, where 4 teams in absolutely equal Toyota Run-X's give their all to find an extra tenth of a second here and there.
The four of us, I'm sure, are going to do our best today.
Definitely, we're all going to be going alpha leather today.
Williams is back in the picture again, so for the last 3 events, it's really going to be who gets it to the end and in the highest position as possible.
We're still a little bit behind in the championship, so it's all or nothing for us. We can just go out there and go flat out from the start,
Now, if you commit yourself, you're in all the way. You're either in or you're out.
We're only 6 points ahead of Chris, so there's nothing in it. We've got to really, we've got to win basically, and we've got to just look after our championship.
We still got an outside chance, but we've got to try and win at least 2 out of the last 3, So it's going to be tough, but we're going to give it our best.
And it's a rally that nobody knows, so it's going to be very interesting. We hear it's very fast, lots of jumps.
It evens it out, not having a lot of experience, against the guys like Chris and Versaki that have been around for a long time, have got experience. We'll see today,
These cars can get going on these straights. I think we're going to probably be doing about 200 k's an hour, so it's going to be scary.
Enzo Keen blasted his BP Polo to another fastest time in stage 2, committed as only youthful exuberance can be. As the Polo screams along the narrow road, the car is nudging 170 kilometers, slowing to 100 for the bend in the road up ahead. Notice just how close those fence posts are. It's hard on the throttle back up to the stratospheric speeds to the end of the stage. Serge Damso is clearly not having an easy time. The Castor Toyota's motor distinctly off song. The champion in trouble, only 6th fastest and dropping 16 seconds. Habich, on the other hand, anxious not to let his teammate get too far ahead at this early stage, and with the prospect of service at the end of the stage to fix anything that may break, opens the Polo's taps to set an identical time. With nearly a quarter of the mileage already run, still just 1 second separates first and second places. It's tight at the top. Lawrence is relieved to still be in the rally after his season so far, but drops to 7th overall in his quest to finish the rally and get his points ticking over on the scoreboard. John and Douglas Williams win the N3 fight in stage 2, the Gajima AST Toyota Runx bouncing off the rev limiter as the car nudges 185 k's an hour. They now lead the class overall by 3 seconds. The championship leader Rodney Versaki and Carolyn Swan are a second shy in their total Runx. It's Piazza Musso and Labuskachny who take up the early challenge in their Sasol Runx that threatens the Williams' lead, hovering 3 seconds back after 2 stages. Chris de Wit and Patrick Yende had their total Runx flying along ahead of Versaki on overall position, but they were already 15 seconds behind the blue and yellow Sasol car. And what of the N2 runners?
I prefer forest stages, which are more mid-speed but flowing stages. The Cape Town guys love these stages because that's what they do down there, fast, open stuff.
Never been anywhere close to mountains before in my life. This is a flat ground, so it's all new to me. From what we believe, it's very, very fast. The roads itself are all new. They seem to be high-speed roads. You see the straights go on forever, and just by the route schedules. And some instructions are like 5 k's in between instructions. But the problem with the little 1600 is to keep it on the boil the whole time, because we lose a lot of power when we come up here. So, yeah, we're going to have to try hard today.
And it's been a slightly up and down season, hasn't it?
Yeah, every time we get going well, and either drive shaft breaks or gearbox breaks. But the 2 rolls, I must say, those are all my own doing.
It's big of you to admit it. The N2 action is just as fierce as any other class. Aggie Stone-Jurgstein set the fastest class time in stage 2, 7 seconds up on Costa Komantarakis and Barry White. And look at that Corolla really flying along. Wimpy restaurant manager 22-year-old Etienne de Toy and Patrick Vermaak are giving it their all as well, lying 3rd in class ahead of the championship leader. Nathan and Hooper went off the road in stage 1, damaging their suspension, and are playing catch-up as the rally progresses. In Class A5, Gugu Zulu and Llewellyn Fourie are driving away from everyone else, the long straight suiting the 1400cc fuel-injected BP Volkswagen Chico. Gary Swemmer and Peter Davison are desperately trying to hold on in their brand new Gary's Workshop Chico, but drop 13 seconds to the works car, leaving the Pretoria team 19 seconds adrift of Zulu. The best of the Toyota Taz's in Class A5 is the Sasol Taz of Kobus Roos and Irma de Plooy. But with a 1300cc carburetor motor, they're well down on power and off the pace, and can only hope reliability will get them higher up on the running order. Michael Houghton and Bryn Doherty, the A5 championship leaders, retired 3 kilometers into stage 1, crashing out at the same spot as 2 other teams, the Bosch Sasol Delight Rally Chick Subaru of Lola and Megan Verluck, and Charles Stradom and Saki Bosman's Golf. The pastoral tranquility is about to be shattered by high-powered cars as stage 3 gets underway, the spectators settling in for an afternoon of full-on entertainment. What does Jan Habig think of the new rally so far?
Yeah, it's quite challenging, but it's quite fun. Some sections are very, very fast. Not a lot of driving skill in that. A lot of stress on the engines in particular. And then, of course, where it's rough, it's really rough, and there's lots of boulders, about soccer ball size boulders. So one's got to be very careful of those. There's no cutting here, cutting there. That's absolutely out. So yeah, we're staying on the road as far as possible, and it's going fairly okay. But it's one's got to be a bit careful, especially on the yumps and stuff like that. You're not quite sure how the route director saw the yumps, so you've got to first just get onto the same understanding as that he is, and then we can maybe go a bit quicker over the yumps and ruts and so on.
And why is Surge so far off the pace?
Last stage 2 wasn't too good to us. We had a misfire, so for last 12 kilometers with a misfire, I was frustrated, but we have to see now what's wrong with it and sort it out. We only can do about 184 k's an hour, so I don't think that's worth going for 5 kilometers, over 5 kilometers. The engines will take a hell of a hammering there,
That's the section that Serge is moaning about. It was down the hill and up on the other end there, but we'll sort that out.
Almost 2 minutes sitting on the limiter. I don't think they like that too much. So maybe they must look at it, put a chicane in the middle, slow the cars down and get away, that type of thing.
As I say, we've learned a few things in the short time that we've spoken to Serge and a few of the guys here. We've learned that the straights are a little bit long at this stage, but we'll improve on that next year. We weren't sure how they want the route exactly, but we hope to improve, and as I say, we hope to see the guys back soon.
I think it's a difficult event, these roads have got no indication of which direction the road will turn, and now on top of that, the route schedule don't really guide us properly. The route schedule has very little info, and basically tells you that you're going through a gate. It doesn't tell you whether you're going left or right after that gate. So we all had a few moments, and I can see from the lines in front of me that my competitors were also very busy finding the road again. But that's the challenges is equal for all of us.
Damso drops another 19 seconds to Keen over the 22.8 kilometer third stage. While Habig continues to keep the lanky driver in his sights, setting the second fastest time again, some 4 seconds slower than the number 3 Polo. Lawrence is gaining confidence in his car with his cautious approach, not intent on fighting for the lead, claiming the 8th fastest time, while Keen now has a 5-second cushion over the chasing pack. Visser du Plessis is the top Subaru in 11th place, the Metmeister Sasol Delight Impreza pairing taking some time to get to understand each other. Richard Bem and Grant Sinclair are happy with 7th for the moment after a string of non-finishes, but it's Jaapie van Niekerk and Greg Godridge out in front of the production car masses, going like the proverbial bullet. After winning Class A7 in stages 1 and 2, Wilken and Houghton drop 11 seconds to Fecken and Urries, still beset by gearbox worries, Wilken nursing the car. This is the Pretoria driver's first year in Class A7 and only his third full championship season after a distinguished track racing career. Adrian Karth and Rikus Fourie boast one finish this year in their ex-Works Net Connect Volkswagen Golf and set the 4th best class time. This is the same car driven by Enzo Keen in the first 2 rallies of the season. JP Damso and Kobus Frey bent a tie rod in this stage, but only drop 8 seconds to Fecken. With no service allowed after this stage, they will have to run stage 4 as well and are set to lose touch with the class leaders. Grobler and Mike Burrows, driving their ex-Works Sassel Delight Volkswagen Golf, have finished every rally since they got their new car in time for the second round of the championship and lie 3rd in class points. With the smell of another win in his nostrils, Fecken ups the ante as he knows his main rivals both have mechanical problems. They take the class lead by a slender 1 second. Class N3, Piazza Musso has moved ahead of Williams. Versace's getting closer to the pair of them, but De Wit is in big trouble. Wilken and Bissett are about to retire the Toyota Conquest with a blown head gasket after breaking a water pipe following a very hard landing, leaving Trott only to finish to win the Class A6 title. No rivals left to race against is taking things fairly easy in spite of a pretty hefty yump. Welcome back to the Osram Rally. The winds of change are about to sweep over some of the favourites as 23 kilometres of hard-baked clay with a scattering of loose pebbles tests man and machine to the limit. Visser Du Plessis and Francois Jordan, still the leading Subaru in 11th overall, overcook this corner and indulge in a spot of fencing. Visser, I hate to tell you, old boy, fencing is a sport played with épées or foils, not cars. The pirouette to disentangle the barbed wire cost around 20 seconds, but unperturbed, Du Plessis continued unabated and set the 10th fastest time, tied with Serge Damso of all people. Van Niekerk continued to enjoy the production car lead, or so he thought, while Rueda and Martin just managed to fend off the attentions of Bem's Sassel Evo 6 by a scant 2 seconds in this stage. Johnny Gemmel and Marty Olivier are picking up the pace in their L&J plant hire Sassel Delight Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 7 and were about to receive a windfall. After successfully defending an exclusion from the Sassel Rally, Gemmel is 9 points behind the production car leader and he didn't start the rally.
Yeah, that was fast. This last one now, 25 Ks, was 5 kilometers of just flat out.
And we're struggling a bit with we're running out of revs. You know, we have the gearing that we got in the car is for tighter forest type stages, but surprise you pay, we never knew it was going to be like this.
These are special gearboxes we're using. Now we only get to about 185, that's our top speed.
When we even have time to talk to each other in the car, which doesn't normally happen.
Nice roads, just a couple of sections in between which have got sort of 5 kilometers of absolutely just flat out, where you're doing 200, 210, 215. It's pretty fast in a rally car when you are going on a gravel road.
I'm very glad to be back in a proper rally car. Not that I would swap my seat in the bakkie easily, but it's nice to be involved in a rally again. I love this rally, it's a super rally, I've always enjoyed it, and Jappie handles it well. There's some very, very fast sections. Most enjoyable, especially in this car, around the sweeps. The traction is fantastic in it. I really enjoy it.
We had some serious, not serious moments, but a couple of jumps that can definitely catch some guys out. I'm worried about the guys coming now.
Cheers, Osram Rally!
Yeah, it lights up your life, doesn't it? Chris de Vet and Patrick Yende were fourth in the quartet of N3 runners, hampered by a puncture and a misfire in stage 3. The misfire is set to continue, slowing the total runnings for the rest of the rally. Piazza Musa was suffering from overheating problems that robbed the Sasol Runix of power. They would try and fix it in service at the end of this stage by changing the radiator, but cling on to their N3 lead, now down to a single second. In spite of a self-confessed dislike of all the yumps, the reigning Class A5 champions Rodney Versaghi and Carolyn Swan were second fastest in the stage. John Williams put in another scintillating drive and really piled the pressure on Piazza Musa. Was this a changing of the N3 guard? The young chargers ahead of the old-timers. Try as they may, neither Mike Nathan or Costa Komantarakis could do anything about the N2 lead enjoyed by Stowe and Steyn in their NPS Oil Flow Toyota Corolla, although Nathan moved up into second place. The three Tazers of Dolf Coetzee and Megan Stowe, Kobus Roos and Irma de Plooy and Etienne Malherbe and Henny Boertes were within 30 seconds of each other. Malherbe and Boertes are the big threat to Houghton for the A5 title this season. They, in turn, were nearly a minute behind the flying Chico of Gugu Zulu and Llewellyn Fourie. Zulu was in top form, enjoying his stint in the Chico, the former track racer getting to grips with rallying again after sitting out a season. And Corsanati and Zamandi and Gerard Snyman adopted their usual slowly get a result approach, but it worked as they third in the title race. At the halfway point of the rally, the lead between Kuhn and Habich was down to 1 second again, and Gemmel is up into third. The class results confirm Gemmel's new status, but where in the world is Van Niekerk? Well, to answer the question, Yapi was basically squeezed into a corner.
No, the off was, that was basically the road book called 90s, left 90 right, and they were all like third gear 90s, not second gear 90s. So I took this one third gear as well, and and Greg did call it. It's definitely a 90 right, and I didn't pay much attention to it, and I went too fast through the corner. That's what happened. We were going very well in the rally, and I like the high-speed stuff, and. I don't think the road book is the answer for this kind of rallies. We were averaging in stage 334 kilometers an hour, which is more than WRC are allowed to do. And without in a blind rally, I think it's borders on criminal.
More of the same in stage 5. Very fast, smooth roads with plenty of yumps to keep the adrenaline pumping. One of the organisers' objectives in moving away from the mountains is to draw more spectators, and it seems to have worked. Keane, under threat from within his own team, blasted through the 19.3 kilometre stage 10 seconds faster than anyone else could manage. The Polo really flying along, Keane and Hodgson earning their wings.
We're in the lead at the moment, and you're approaching this at 170 k's an hour on a Jeep track. So you're quite busy inside the car, grabbing levers and things to figure out what the plan is here.
Habig and Judd conceded 10 seconds, figuring it was better to ease off over the rough stuff and blind rises. Both cars are equal, said Habig, so the only difference a driver can make is how much risk you're prepared to take. Serge and Robert had quietly slipped to an unaccustomed 8th overall, and to make matters worse, gave away 20 seconds with a confusing instruction in the road book, taking a wrong road when faced with 3. Lawrence was starting to crank up the pace, setting the 5th best time to hold 4th overall, taking the obstacles thrown his way with a degree of caution. And how are you holding up, Etienne?
I think if it wasn't for the cold here, I would have had some sweat here. And that's not from driving hard, it was just from sheer like adrenaline and hoping that we're getting through. Yeah, look, we're still in and we're not trying hard, we're just keeping a pace that's happy.
The poor guy must be tired by now. It's the most mileage he's done this year, so we can't expect him to go flat out.
It's very difficult. We haven't had a challenging stages like these for a long time. They're basically unreadable. You know, you go down the farm road in 6th gear, and the next moment they decide, no, there's a hole in the road, let's just go around it quickly, and then there's a little S-bend left-right, you know, which is not on the instruction. And gate, straight through gate is not straight, it's like a sharp right-hander type of thing. So yeah, it's a bit difficult.
Hogan Fecken, a comfortable half-minute ahead of JP Damso, cracked a strut mounting and cracked his windscreen after a hard landing, and decided to take things easy over the rough stuff to the end of the stage and through stage 6. Not that take it easy is in Fecken's vocabulary, for he set the 3rd quickest time as the clock shows, this in spite of the damage to his car. Damso Jr. and Frey were soldiering along, hanging on to Fecken's coattails, always close enough to pounce if something unexpected should happen to the golf pair. Barry Grobler and Mike Burrows get on with the job of finishing the event, which would be his 5th in a row. Adrian Koth and Rikus Fourie were locked in a fierce fight with Meili Savills' Subaru and tied overall for position. Koth was driving as hard as he dared, mindful of the need to finish. And he'd gained a position.
In the last stage we had 5 k's of pretty fast roads, and then we could get up to speed, but quite airy, you know, doing like 200 k's plus in some stages.
Well, he slowed down just after that. In fact, he came to a complete stop. Wilken was out, his gearbox casing cracking open. Craig Trott was not driving as if his championship was at stake, still taking corners at full chat. And we wanted to know, what's the score, Craig?
We've had some scary moments, yeah, a lot of instructions not marked, a couple are marked, you brake too early. I think we're both trying to get used to it. Yeah, I think a lot of crews are finding it difficult, new terrain. We're battling along, I think a bit on the safe side. We're not going to try any heroics now.
And does your local newspaper think you're going to win the title today?
Yeah, that was taken off a lamppost in Maritzburg, believe it or not. So it was kindly taken off and put up here for show, yeah.
For once, the newspaper got it right, sort of. As Kobus Roos stopped to investigate the wayward handling of his Sasol Taz, Mearns and Noonan headed for their best ever national finish in their MPC Subaru Impreza Sportwagon, finally ending 18th overall. Judging by the angle of the back wheel, Roos wasn't going much further. Rueda moved ahead of Bem after the Evo 6 pairing dropped 17 seconds with an overshoot. And the N2 dice was as strong as ever, Nathan closing inexorably on Stroh.
Much risky one.
So the last stage was extraordinarily quick. We're averaging 130 kilometres an hour along tracks that have got a middle manicky on them. You tried driving from Cape Town to Johannesburg and average 130 k an hour, you wouldn't manage it. You know, it's incredibly fast roads.
I don't know, my nerves are okay. I don't know about the rest of the guys, but I'm fine, thank you.
But we're 7 seconds in the lead, 2 stages to go. We're 7 up, aren't we?
2 corners with the wrong gear, and you know that's 7 seconds. So it is a bit tight, and it's yeah, but it's a good race.
Keen was 4 seconds slower than Havik. Serge showed some proof of life with third, and Lawrence was 5th quickest. Rueda was up into 5th overall and with a sniff of catching Gemmell set a time 2 seconds quicker than the production car leader. And boy oh boy was he trying or what. And yes, that is almost 200 k's an hour. Duplessis continued in 10th. Gemmell was happy with his N4 lead while Ben was kicking himself for his silly mistake, dropping to 7th overall and out of the running for victory. Mike Nathan hadn't given up the fight though, closing to 23 seconds behind the N2 leader, but Stroh was up to the challenge and still holding on to his lead. In his McCarthy Toyota Corolla and Comantarakis in his Dunlop version were enjoying a tough ding-dong battle, ending this stage 1 second apart, De Toy a fraction quicker. Gugu Zulu was untroubled in the lead of Class A5, around 90 seconds ahead of Etienne Malherbe's Aprilia Racing Toyota Taz and Gary Swemmer's Chico.
Inch tires actually make a huge difference, especially on these long stages. I mean, there are certain parts where we're actually flat out in 6th gear and it's just a straight line. So without a doubt, it has played a role. Some guys are still running 14-inch tires and I think they are struggling for a bit more traction.
Yeah, we were shocked this morning. They took a lot of time from us over the first 2 stages, but then on the 3rd one we took a bit of time back. As soon as there's a bit more tricky stuff, we can take time back, but as soon as it opens up, they just do what they want with us when we can't do anything.
This was the end of the road for Roos and the Sasol Taz, retiring with a broken subframe. Dolf Coetzee, the current A5 champion, was tied for runner-up in Class A5, while the Heine brothers, Brian and Keith, enjoyed still being in the rally in their new Penny Pinchers VW Chico. Williams was closing in on Piazza Musso, still ahead in Class N3. And raging as intensely as ever, the A7 chase was heading for a dramatic climax, with Fecken just a missed gear or spin ahead of the fast-recovering JP Damso. Stage 7, 25 kilometers of rough, rocky, yumpy and fast gravel, the pace unrelenting. Damso was mired in 8th overall, setting the 7th quickest time in the stage, while Lawrence, upholding Toyota's honour, could smell the finish line and set his sights on Gemel's 3rd place at tantalising 12 seconds away. It was Habib and Judd who had the most to gain and set off into the stage to give everything they had to close down their 7-second gap to Keane. Keane, aware that his lead would be under threat, retaliated as best he could, but conceded 1 second, the gap now 6 seconds with just 1 stage to go. Visagie was about to receive an early Christmas bonus, but it was an aggressive Piazza Musso that caused the drama. Rumour was Williams was in the lead. Now, watch the clock closely. Indeed, Williams is the new Class N3 leader after Piazza Musso and Labuschagne dropped 2 minutes with the wrong slot, which also promoted Visagie up into 2nd in class. De Wit was a minute behind Piazza Musso, but it was Williams who put in a drive of note, saying to his dad before the start of the stage, "It's first or nothing, fasten your seatbelt." And first it was. Adrian Koth and Rikus Faris, still locked in battle for 10th place, ended their rally in hospital. The Net Connect Golf hit 2 jumps, the second while the suspension was compressed from the first. The undercarriage snagged the second jump and the rear of the car flipped up into the air, launching it into a frightening series of 8 high-speed rolls. The crew was given a clean bill of health, but the golf was a write-off. Grobler and Burrows were now 3rd in class, with JP a safe 2nd, holding 9th overall and little chance of making up the 31 seconds deficit. Fecken, in a lowly 6th overall by his standards, had a comfortable half-a-minute lead, assuming nothing went wrong in the final stage, as has happened before. A win here would propel Fecken into a tie on the Class A7 points table. Trott was well on his way to a 2nd consecutive championship, while Aggie Stowe and Jurgstein maintained their lead in Class N2 over the hard-charging Mike Nathan and Graham Hooper.
It's only over till the fat lady sings. I've learned in this sport that you mustn't take chances.
Stage 1 this morning, 2Ks in. We bent the low control arm quite severely. We avoided Lola and Megan, but we went off on the other side of the road and damaged the Remeti drive 2 stages like that. We lost about 35 seconds to the rest of the guys.
Mike Nathan is bringing them in. He's having a great race. He had some problems in the first stage, I believe, but he's doing a great race.
Not forgetting Class A5, what's happened to Gugu Zulu? And he's out too, a broken engine the cause. Class N4 was status quo, but was Johnny feeling the pressure from Rueda?
So it's tight, eh? Between 3 of us at the front of N4, it's only 4 or 5 seconds a stage. Close.
Johnny is still going, you know. I thought we had him under control this morning, but anyway, 9 seconds. We still got 65 k's of stage, so we're going to try.
And that 2 stages without service, also good.
We're losing out now. The last 2 stages, Johnny is leading our class. Took 4 and I think 7 seconds, so he's 11 ahead now.
It's a good enough ding dong here.
Yeah, I can pull my finger up.
We're really trying, yeah. And it's still as scary as I told you earlier, hasn't changed.
Into the last stage at 37,8 k's, the longest of the rally, and things were about to change for some of the hopefuls. The The stage was as fast as the others, but with some tight twisty sections and loose rocks scattered around. Keane took his 5th stage win, but it was Damso who was the man on the move. With the Castrol Toyota finally running sweetly, he blasted to the 2nd quickest time, jumping from 8th to 4th as a last hurrah for the fans. Habich dropped 6 seconds to Keane in the stage. Volkswagen's management called a halt to the dice with a 1-2 result in the bag, and with over a minute to 3rd-placed Gemmell, hold station instructions were issued. Etienne Lawrence launched an all-out attack on Gemmell, but 17 Ks into the stage, the mysterious misfire transferred itself to Lawrence's Run X, and he lost a minute and a half, dropping to 8th in the final standings. Gemmell, aware of the threat, drove with a fine blend of speed and caution, anxious to secure his 3rd podium of the year and take the production car lead. Duplessis and Jordan completed the top 10, and the Metmeister Subaru, a solid result considering it was their first time out together. It was Ruedo who cracked under the pressure of attacking Gemmell. He spun in the stage and lost 20 seconds and would have to be satisfied with 2nd in class. Richard Bem had a go at Fecken's 6th spot, but landed up dropping time to the VW driver. In the final stage, Nathan caught and passed the rally-long N2 leader Aggie Stroh, the NPS Corolla suffering from a broken exhaust manifold, robbing the engine of vital power to repel an attack. But it was close. The final tally, just 3 seconds between the 2 Corollas. Kamantarakis and Etienne de Toy tied for 3rd in class. It was that close again after nigh on 187 Ks of high-speed racing across some of the fastest rally roads ever in South Africa. Etienne Malherbe and Henny Burtis indulged in an impromptu spot of parallel parking practice, stopping neatly between 2 gateposts without so much as scratching the paint. The Little Taz mustered 165 kilometers flat out. Adding some practice for tackling those pesky suburban speed bumps, we don't suggest you try these stunts with Mom's Taxi. Nzamandi and his Chico and Vuzi Mabanga and his Taz both finished the race, a tough one enjoyed by the fans who came to see the spectacle. Mike Nathan was an elated man at the finish.
It was a do-or-die attempt, and we took 30 off him, so it was really sweet, but it was really quick. I thoroughly enjoyed that stage.
And how did John Williams win Class N3?
The second last stage we went flat out because, you know, second wasn't going to be good enough for me. I wanted to win, you know, and we took I think 30 seconds off Rodney, 40 off Chris, and Claudia made a mistake, so we took about a minute off him.
Craig Trott, in spite of some hairy moments, finished to wrap up the 2005 Class A6 title, while Fecken survived the onslaught against his place, safe with another A6 win. Gemmell too survived to hold on to 3rd.
But it was tight, eh? Going into that last one, Fernando was only 6 behind us.
But it really was a great rally. It was one of the nicest ones we've had. Again, it's getting so competitive that, you know, there's never more than 3 or 4 seconds, 5, 10 seconds between the top 3 in every class, you know, which is great.
It was an elated Enzo Keane and Guy Hodgson who finally gave the BP Volkswagen Polo its long-awaited first Super 2000 victory, leading from start to finish in this very tough rally.
It's a sweet victory for us, you know. We were trying hard today. No navigational aids, just pure concentration. And I loved every minute of it, so it was great.
Keen's victory takes him to 11 points behind Damso, while Gemmell leapfrogs Nicholas Ryan in the production car standings. Malherbe is close to within 2 points of the A5 leader, and there are still 2 events to run. And 3 drivers can still win the overall SA Rally Championship. Our next date with you is next month for the Subaru Cape Rally.